we can create here several courses, right? And we can delete. But if I refresh, we lose all that. So let's tie this to a server where we can save our state. Right? All right, so let's do that. Let's create a directory called services. So services. And in there, we'll create the course service. So course service JS. And this is going to look very similar to what we did a week ago where we did the user service. Remember that? The admin user service, which had a whole bunch of CRUD operations. Yes? So you would have functions here such as create course, which takes as argument a course object, and it does something. Presumably, it sends it, it posts this to a server, const. Okay, so all the CRUD operations would live here, right? You would have const find all courses would live here. Presumably, it does a get operation to a server. Yes? Okay, they will all live here. So the way we implemented in the previous assignment, we encapsulated it inside of a class so that these functions would only be accessible through the instance variable of that service. Make sense? Here, the file itself is already an encapsulation. All right, and these functions are not being declared in the top level namespace. Right? Remember, in ES6, only if you import and export things can you access an actual piece of variable. Everything otherwise, if you don't export anything, these functions are opaque. Nobody can see them. They only live within this file. Yes? Right? So if we want to be able to use these functions, we need to export them. So if you want to use the create, we can just say export. Now we can load that create course. We can do export define all courses, and we can now see them from other places. Yes? All right. So I want to call create course. From where? I want to call create course from the course manager, right? I have a function here that says add course. Here's a course I want to add, but I don't want to add it to the local array. I want to send it over to a server so that the server can store this remotely, right? So I want to use this function here. How do I do that? Well, I need to import. At the top, I need to import this function from this file, right? So so I want to import that function, right, from, go up and then down to services and then course service. Right, it's complaining, saying that, well, you know, that function is let me comment this out. I can say export default const. Wait a minute, what's complaining? Export default create course. Okay. Now it says yes, you can access that function, right? We'll come back to that in a second. So we have a create course, and it's the you can have any number of functions, right? And if you receive it like this, what you'll get is whatever was exported by default, right? If you're exporting a whole bunch of things, right, like we want to do, right, you have to use a slightly different syntax, which I'll show you in a minute. All right, but right now it's the only thing we're exporting, and if you have this other function, and if you don't, unless you export it, you can't access it, right? Unless you export it. So for instance, if I try to import the find all courses, I would not be able to use it because it's not exported. Okay. Whereas the create course is being exported. All right, so I'm going to call who? I'm going to call right here in the add, right? In the add course, we're going to call that function. Okay, we're going to call that function. We're going to say create course, and we want to pass this object right here. We can say const new course is this JSON object, right? Actually, I don't need the previous state. I can say this.state.new course title. And then I want to pass the course right here. I want to pass the course right here. And I'm not going to change the current state here. I'm not going to change the current state. We are replacing this with sending it to a server, right? As opposed to rendering it locally, our own local array. Right, so this course, I'm passing it to create course, and right now create course is not doing anything. Let's for now just do a console log, and here's the course. Yes. So if we render and we're in the console and we click on add course, notice that indeed is the ID, the unique identifier, plus the whatever. Yes. So I am passing it there. Everybody good? All right. What we want to do is do what? We want to do a return fetch, right, and then go out to the generic server, right? So the generic server is lives under webdev generic server. There it is. That's the URL. So I'm going to copy that API. So there it is. API slash my username slash I'm creating courses. Yes, I'm creating courses. Actually, I don't need the return, right? It's going to be an implicit return. And then this is a post, not a get. So this is the method would be post. I need to convert this into a JSON string. So the body will be a JSON stringify of the course. And I need to tell the server that this is a the content. You should interpret this as a application, as a JSON object. Yes? The server is going to come back to me. Yes. Headers, thank you. Headers. The server is going to come back to me responding, which I need to parse it. I need to parse the response.json, extract the JSON from the body, and then that's what goes back to my client. Yes? Right. So here I called it, and then I get a promise with the actual course that was inserted into a database, and we can do a console log dot course. So this is the actual course that was inserted. I'll call it actual course. Oops. All right, so let's try that out. Let's re-render this. And so let's do an add course. Okay, notice that this went out to the server. It's coming back with an ID that I provided. Right? It's using the ID that I gave it. I don't want to do that. I want to instead let the server come up with that ID. So I'm going to remove that underscore ID. Right? It says you come up with the ID. I don't want to come up with the ID. Right? So let's try it again. Let's refresh. So I'll say cs5610 and add course. So notice that that's what's the server's coming back with. Like we can look at the network traffic, and we can see the post down below here. There it is. There's my post. I can see the headers. There it is. Here's a generic server, blah, 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 courses. It was a post. This is what I sent, title 5610, right? And what came back as a response was the title that I gave it, the NEU, my unique identifier, that's me, right? The domain is courses, and the unique identifier for the primary key. Yes? So it is being rendered, stored in the database. I can see the actual data if I copy the URL and I just paste it right here. I can see that I think there was 2 or 3 courses. Oh, there we go. There were a couple more. So whatever, new course, coursed, and then CS5610. Right, must have been playing with it earlier. So the data is being stored there, right? And so now that we're storing it, we'd like to go and fetch it so we can render it here for real. So let's take a look at that now.